So the Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act and Rules. This act was enacted on for the first time. It was enacted on 20th September 1994, and it had this intention to prohibit the prenatal diagnostic techniques for to the determination of sex of the fetus specifically, because this act, without this act in place, a lot of female feticide was happening. Female feticide rates were quite high, because if you remember, the MTP Act, Medical Termination of Pregnancy Act, was enacted in the year 1971. And since 1971 to 1990s, early 1990s, almost 2 decades, people had misused the MTP Act to such an extent, along with the healthcare professionals. Okay, they were also the part of this of the misusers of that act, that this Prenatal Diagnostic Techniques Act and rules had to be enacted. Okay, so this was the primary objective, so that we can curb or reduce the number of female feticides that is happening. Okay, so this act, it is a very draconian act, because if you are found guilty, you will be charged. There is no way around. Okay, so it does not offer any escape to any hearing serologist or radiologist. If you are caught as a criminal under this act, okay, there is no way you can escape from the imprisonment or punishment, whatever is going to come on your way. Okay, so this chapter is from the annexure. Okay, it's not a chapter, it's from the annexure. So this is the main intent of the PC and PNDT Act. So few requirements which are there in this act are registration under Section 18 of the PC and PNDT Act. Here, all the serologist or radiologist has to be registered, and not just them, the machinery or the equipment what they are using, that also has to be registered under the PC and PNDT Act. Always take a written consent of the pregnant woman, and you have to completely prohibit the communication regarding what is the sex of the fetus. Okay, this comes under Section 5 of this act. Woman's written consent is required. Nobody else, not the husband, not the family members, not the in-laws. No, only and only if the woman has consented that, okay, I'm ready to do certain test, or I'm ready to undergo sonography, ultrasound, only then it will be carried forward. Okay, and no woman should be forced to undergo any diagnostic test during her pregnancy. Okay, maintenance of records as provided under Section 19 of the Act. Okay, all the records, how many women have undergone the sonography, how many women have undergone any prenatal diagnostic test, what was the reason of it, who was the gynecologist, who was the obstetrician. Okay, all these details has to be recorded properly, and the filing system has to be maintained. Creating awareness among public at large by placing on the board of prohibition of sex determination. You must have seen this in hospitals or in private clinics as well, or wherever there is a stand-alone, excuse me, wherever there is a stand-alone diagnostic facilities. Okay, you must have noticed they have placed this prohibition board that sex determination is completely prohibited in this particular institute or in this particular center by law. Okay, you will see this board just outside any sonography, ultrasound diagnostic lab. So any non-compliance, if it is found, even if it is of a smallest mistake or error, or a smallest error, okay, it will create a major issue. Okay, nobody can escape from the penalties what this draconian act has led so far. Okay, so any non-compliance of the act in any smallest manner, okay, it may bring wrath upon the errant. Who errant is the person who has done wrong. Okay, this act penalizes all errant either involved in sex determination or even non-maintenance of records, even if you have not done any sex determination. But if you are not even maintaining the records properly, okay, that is also considered as an errant. suspension of registration, okay, registration and filing criminal cases, sealing the machines which were used to commit a crime. Okay, these all are the penalties which are given. And also criminal prosecution can also be done. Criminal prosecution, and because of the if criminal prosecution is going on, definitely your registration will be suspended and it will be cancelled. You cannot practice as a radiologist or a sonologist or an obstetrician until and unless the suspension is removed. Okay, so as soon as a doctor is under criminal prosecution, their registration is suspended and they cannot be practicing medical professionals. And in some cases, immediately your registration will be cancelled from the state medical council as well. So what are the remedies? What can a healthcare professional do if they come under these penalties? Okay, they can file an appeal before the appellate authority. Appellate authority is the lower courts. Okay, and with the help of this appeal, if it is approved, if the appeal is approved, they can at least get the machinery back from the release from the court of law. Because if this was done in a hospital and the culprit was found to be just the radiologist, okay, and the government authorities will come and take the machinery as well, but machinery becomes a capital investment of the hospital, right? So after filing an appeal, the hospital can definitely take back the machinery. They may not take back the radiologist because the registration may be suspended or cancelled. We cannot say about that, but definitely, if the court allows, the machinery can be taken and it can be put to use again. But all these remedial measures are quite time consuming, and it will definitely bring the career of the individual to a standstill. So it would not be out of place to therefore state that the most effective precautionary measures are to maintain the records properly when it comes to PC and PNDT Act. Okay, and there are certain forms that you have to fill, and if like Form F, etc., in this act, it has to be filled accurately and correctly, and you have to submit all these records to the appropriate authorities before the auditing or during the auditing. You should have records maintained properly within, there is a specific stipulated time. Okay, every year or every quarterly, by this time you have to submit the record. By that time your records has to be submitted properly. It should not be incomplete. Completely filled up records has to be submitted to the appropriate authorities. Then you do not have anything to worry about. Okay, there are few shortcomings in the act as well, but in future you can expect certain amendments taking place which can correct the shortcomings, but that does not give any like, there are certain shortcomings in the act itself. That does not mean that you can stick to non-compliance. Okay, so that was about the PC and PNDT Act in a nutshell. Okay, you may find a detailed annexures, forms, etc., which is given in the textbook, but you just have to understand the concept of this act. Okay, you don't have to mug up anything else. Is it clear so far?